Some wild details have been revealed about the Vladimir Geurrero Jr. pickoff attempt in Game 2 of the Wildcard Series, and some fans, as well as a former manager, have been saying that maybe the Twins cheated. So we'll break that down in this episode of Jay's Digest, as well as Buck Martinez. He came out and spoke out about manager John Schneider. So we're going to break that down and much more coming up next. What's up, Jays fans? Nick Gosse, your host of Jay's Digest. And before we get into the video, I want to thank you all for your support. It has been unbelievable. Peter's not here for this one, so I'm going to be covering the latest news for you guys today, and he will be back tomorrow. But before we get into the video, we have some crazy stuff to break down today. Some details about the pickoff, some Buck Martinez quotes speaking out on John Schneider, which is kind of crazy given the John Schneider news that has come out recently with Ross Atkins kind of talking and speaking out and blaming John Schneider to a degree. So Buck Martinez kind of, spoke about him, which is very, very interesting. Before we get into that, quick reminder that 70.6% of you guys who are watching right now are not subscribed, and we're super close to 9,000. You guys have been killing it. So if you enjoy the daily videos, we've been doing 2 videos a day for the past while, make sure to hit the subscribe button. It would mean the world to me and Peter. Let's get into the first topic of the day here, which is insane pickoff details have been revealed. Now, this was obviously a few days ago, last Wednesday when the wildcard game, happened. And unfortunately, Vladimir Geurrero Jr. got picked off heavily at second base in probably the worst time you could have imagined. But some interesting details have been revealed. And one of our former managers, John Gibbons, came out and spoke about it, hinting that the Twins, in his opinion, may have been cheating. So let's just break that down right now. So it started with this. Sonny Gray discussing the pickoff. The play was put on by Correa and communicated through the pitch comm. Now, I know a lot of people out there thought that it was done because Sonny Gray, hit the top of his head, hit the top of his cap, which ultimately signified the pickoff play at second base in that World Series or that wild card game. However, that is not the case. It was indeed maneuvered by the pitch comm, which is very, very interesting. And here's what former manager John Gibbons tweeted. He said, "If true, I guess it's time to exonerate the Houston Astros for the sign stealing controversy. Since technology is allowed, what's fair is fair." Now, I'll let you all decide what your stance is on this. Some people think that, PitchCom shouldn't be allowed to use this. Technology is ruining the game and that it's, cheating to a degree. John Gibbons certainly thinks that, the Twins cheated to get this pickoff play at second base, and regardless, it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game most likely because of how bad the Blue Jays bats were, but I just thought this was interesting to bring up, and I'm curious to see what you guys' opinion is on this. The PitchCom being allowed to, call pickup plays, and I'm going to make it clear, it is in the rules that you are allowed to use the PitchCom for that. It's kind of what the PitchCom was invented for communication between teammates, as stated by a guy here. There's a slight difference in using technology that's allowed and using technology that wasn't, and kind of communicating between your teammates. It's a big difference between communicating between your teammates and then stealing things from the other team. So I don't think the Twins cheated. They definitely, by the rule books, didn't cheat. However, this blew up a little bit, and it's interesting looking back at it now, and, it kind of signifies what the game signifies what the game's going to be like going forward with all this technology. You have the pitch clock, you have the pitch comm. Everything is getting a bit more technological, getting a bit more crazy. Analytics are taking over. So given the Ross Atkins, drama with all the analytics, I figured it was an interesting time to discuss this and how that pickoff play was not done by any, physical, movement like the Jays often do. They did it through a pitch comm, which ultimately was a little bit unfortunate for the Blue Jays because inexcusable Vladimir Geurrero Jr. to not be able to get back there. But it goes to show why maybe, that happened. And also it came out and said that Vladimir Geurrero Jr. could not hear the third base coach yelling to get back because of how loud the Twins arena was. And that's one of the reasons Carlos Correa put on the play on his pitch comm, which got relayed to Sonny Gray back to him. And bit of a neat thing. John Gibbons, former Jays manager, and a whole lot of you out there, love John Gibbons. I loved him in his time, 2015, 2016, and, prior to that as well, and after that. So interesting to see a John Gibbons little tidbit of news and some very, very interesting details that were revealed by that and see how it changes the baseball universe going forward. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Very, very interesting. Now let's get into the more juicy stuff here. And this is a very, very interesting quote. And I'm very, very curious to see what you guys think about this quote from Buck Martinez. You all know who Buck Martinez is. Buck Martinez speaks out on John Schneider. Now, this came out before before Ross Atkins came out and spoke out on John Schneider and called him out. He said, "I think John Schneider is going to be one hell of a manager. Once he gets in a situation where he can push back more in some of the in-game decisions that are made beforehand, he's going to be a hell of a manager. Veteran managers push back, John can't." Now, this needed to be brought up, and I'm very, very intrigued to see what you guys think about this quote. So, obviously, Buck Martinez is a guy we all know about. Buck Martinez. He is an old school guy. He's an announcer now. He used to play back in the day. He was a catcher himself, and it kind of flows into what we just spoke about the pitch comm, because I know Buck Martinez heard about this. He would probably side on the edge of John Gibbons back in the, the older days and things like that of, technology not being, allowed as much and things like that. But Buck Martinez, it's very interesting to say that Buck Martinez said this. Now, this was obviously before the fact that Ross Atkins came out yesterday and blamed it all on John Schneider. Everyone was of the assumption that, this was a Ross Atkins decision. This was a front office decision. Now it makes it even more interesting. Now, if you tuned into our video a couple days ago, or yesterday, a couple videos ago, Peter kind of thought that maybe Ross Atkins was lying and saying that, it was purely John Schneider's decision to save himself. And this makes it seem maybe that he was lying a little bit because according to, Buck Martinez, who's super in tune with the Jays, super in tune with all the coaching staff, made it very, very clear that he believes that not only is John Schneider going to be a great manager, which we can discuss in a second, but that he believes that it was analytics who made the decision and that he could not push back on Ross Atkins and the analytical department about pulling Jose Berrios. It's just been the decision of the baseball world that has, shocked the baseball world, was that decision. And it's very, very interesting now because we're really stuck between what's real and what isn't. On one side, you can think that John Schneider was the one who pulled Jose Berrios based on his own and based on what Ross Atkins said. Or you can go on the side that Ross Atkins is lying to save face. And if that's the case and he's lying to save face, then what a weird, weird time to be a fan of this team. And it's been very, very strange the last few days. And this quote right here is interesting. Now, whether you like John Schneider or not doesn't really matter in a situation like this. Regardless, this kind of brings to light how strange this situation has been, how weird the situation has been. And it's very, very interesting. I don't know whose side you guys want to believe or whose side to believe. Obviously, Peter Vryonis thinks that it's, maybe Ross Atkins lying to the media to save face. A lot of people in the Jays, universe, some reporters came out right after the game, after the wildcard game and said that this was not a John Schneider decision. And then Ross Atkins, of course, comes out and absolutely calls out his manager, which after having a couple days to, discuss this and, think about this, bit of a crazy, crazy past couple days this has been, because there is no way that I thought after these comments that John Schneider was going to be manager. If you checked our video yesterday, that is the case. John Schneider is coming back as manager. So our general manager takes no accountability of his own, calls out his former manager and John Schneider, while we also have our announcer who's super in tune with everything, saying that this wasn't John Schneider's fault and that John Schneider is going to be a phenomenal manager, which I don't really agree with. But that aside, veteran managers push back, John can't yet, and then Ross Atkins comes out and says that it has nothing to do with that. It was all John Schneider's decision. So I'm curious to see what you guys think about that. Just a couple tidbits of, information that came out here. Specifically, the Pickoff one was pretty crazy, especially on this Thanksgiving day. I hope you're all enjoying your Thanksgiving, but let me know what your thoughts are on that in the comment section below. A bit of a more quick video today. We've been pumping out 2 videos a day for you guys, so it's been, support has been unbelievable, and we really, really appreciate it. And yeah, that'll wrap up the video. Let us know what your thoughts are on Buck Martinez, on John Gibbons. Would you rather, let me know in the comments if you made it this far, would you rather have John Gibbons or John Schneider as your manager? Comment if you made it this far. Check out our video that's on your screen right now from earlier today. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.